Big Ron Shaw here, the Earl of Upsets, telling you to watch my friends, Monte and the Pharaoh, on Long Island's #1 wrestling podcast show, and soon to be the world's #1 wrestling podcast show. That is going to be a big upset.
Welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Monte the Pharaoh, only seen here out of Mike Monte's Man Cave and Jimmy Pharaoh Saloon, and welcoming one of the greatest icons in pro wrestling, Ivelisse. Thank you, Evil. How are you?
What up? I'm all right. How are you?
Very good, very good.
How's the head doing, my friend?
It's good. It's good.
Mike, you want to fill the audience in? Poor Ivelisse has a headache. She's trying to get the aspirin to clear it up. Okay.
I'm slowly waking up. My brain.
Excellent.
Slowly
there you
waking
go.
up.
So you're living in Tampa right now, Eve, right?
Yes, I'm still in Tampa. I've stayed here since I came to Tampa for SCW over a decade ago. I have not left Tampa.
It's too hot.
How come? Is it too
I
hot
love
there in
Tampa. Well, when I lived, because I lived in Chicago, like when I left Puerto Rico, I went to Chicago first and I was there for a couple of years. And after a couple of years, I was like, I need to get the hell out of here. If it's the last thing I do, because the cold, oh my God, I can't. I'm from the Caribbean. I can't handle the cold, especially like experiencing that for the first time, like walking out and your eyelashes freezing and like all that. I can't. So the opportunity came for the Tough Enough thing, and then in my mind, I'm like, this is my ticket to finally go to Tampa to FCW or whatever. And
are you going to tell me then you're never going to?
This is practically the same as Puerto Rico, but
you're close. You're close enough. You're close enough.
Yeah.
So I guess there's no chance you come and moving up northeast then, huh?
I can't. That cold, man. Oh my God, it kills me. It kills me. I don't think so.
All right,
it would have to be something special.
Listen, I don't blame you. Jimmy lived up here with me we were friends for a very long time. Shot out of our studio, and then Jimmy met somebody and moved down to Florida. Also, I don't blame him. I'd get out of here if I could. I'm trying my best, right? I'm much older than you, so it's like if I could get out of New York before they put me in the dirt, I'll be a happy camper for sure.
I guess I should stop complaining that it's hot here in Panama City Beach then, huh, Ivelisse? I'll stop complaining.
Yeah. I love it. I love the weather. Well, I mean, I don't love that it rains so damn much in the summer,
yeah.
But it's still not cold as hell, so it's good. We're good.
10-4.
All right, guys, I want to read you something from 4th of July, and I want you guys both to weigh in, okay? And by the way, how was your 4th of July, Ivelisse? Did you have a good time?
I didn't do anything for 4th of July. Yeah.
You weren't.
Plus, it was raining as well. It was like storming.
You weren't setting off fireworks in the court with a keg?
No.
Oh, she behaved, Mike. Never mind.
It was raining too, so it's not even like I could really do much.
Oh, okay. Soggy 4th.
All right, guys. So usually we start off with some news article, but I'm just going to read a tweet, and if you guys can weigh in, I'd greatly appreciate it. Don't care. Mm-hmm. All right. So this is from Kevin Nash. We all know who Kevin Nash is, and he decided on the 4th of July he was going to put a tweet out there. I'm just going to read it. says, "Happy 4th, more trillion in debt day. Never felt this proud to
Oh,
continue to
right.
destroy the empathy we once held for those less fortunate. So I guess happy Wealth Day, white 1% day. Enjoy your small regional hospitals while you can. Things just continue to get greater. Happy 4th." Now, if I'll just say what I felt on the whole thing, I felt this is how I feel. I feel that if someone is fortunate to be as rich as or as famous as a Kevin Nash or a LeBron James or whatever else, I feel that if you want to make a difference in this world, right? Everybody wants to make a difference. That you don't spend it on Twitter writing an X thing and giving your opinion out there. Why don't you run for political office? Why don't you donate to a politician that you think could make a difference? And I guess Nash didn't like my comment and he decided to block me. So I don't think what I wrote was bad. Jimmy,
Oh,
Evil,
you wrote that as a reply.
I wrote
Okay.
that as a reply, right? I'm like, hey, look, you know what? Instead of okay, so I'll just go a little deeper, right? I feel like if a LeBron James has something political to say, that he actually has more influence on today's youth than their own parents, right?
He does.
And
He
whether
does.
you believe whatever you want to believe, that's fine. That's all well and good. That's what makes this country great. But to me, to go to Twitter and do this on the 4th of July, but do something different. Run for political office. Make a difference. Yeah, and I mean that's my viewpoint to it, and I guess it wasn't met with the best reception from him. And again, why does he have to listen to me, right? So it doesn't really matter. Jimmy, Evil, what do you guys got to say?
Evil, take it.
No. I don't want to talk about politics or I don't like I'll say that I don't view it like I mean, okay. I would say I don't view it as something negative for him writing the tweet. But I also agree with yes, we could all do more. There's always more ways that we could do more things that we could do is what I meant to say. There's always more things that we can do to like improve things and whatever. But yeah, that's like all I all I will say about it.
And I totally respect that. But I'll ask you, right? You're a famous wrestler who's made a substantial difference within this industry, and I'm sure when young ladies see you and then have watched you wrestle
I really
growing
wish
up,
I could have done more.
I absolutely understand. I think we all would have done more, but
I just was never like every time I had the chance, like there was always something, always something. Or like, because technically I still have the chance. Like I've had the chance my entire career, and I do it however and wherever I can. It's just obviously the chances. I'll correct that. The chances that I've had to do it in places that I would be able to make a bigger impact and a bigger influence for that improvement, something always happens. But like I'm still grateful that I've had the chance where even in smaller places because that's like how it's my thought process so is that it doesn't matter. Like to me, I could be in a big company, I could be in a small company, and my goal is always the same. Like, to try to improve things. And it's like obviously that is a lot obviously bigger companies, bigger engines, bigger machines are a lot less receptive to that. So that's been the problem. Still a problem to this day, and it's still a problem not just in wrestling but in everything, especially politics. Especially as a female, minority, etc. Blah blah blah, and like it's it's been very brutal. Like honestly, it's still pretty brutal now, and as obviously as I get older, like it's getting closer and closer to like, well, obviously my contribution like has to evolve eventually at some point, right? Where the performance aspect is just like I can't keep putting my body through the same type of abuse. We put our body through abuse in order to do these performances, etc. It's like I'm getting closer and closer to that turning point to where I have to start looking other ways. I've been doing the training stuff. At least I've been doing the training stuff for the last couple of years. I help out in the locker room, in any way, shape, or form that I possibly can. Which is why I'm so grateful for having been able to work with Shine for all of this time that I've been able to, because it's been that safe space for me, like, that I've never really had. Like, Shine and Lucha Underground have been the biggest safe space for me to be able to like be who I am and what I represent, not just culture or race or anything, or not just that, but in every way, shape, or form. Like the structure, the getting women to believe more in themselves, or getting them to be more, taken more seriously, and things like that. Like all the in every way, shape, or form, shape and form. Shine and Lucha Underground have been those safe spaces for me, and now that like I'm getting closer to that uh like evolution, like that part of the evolution where, of course I would love to one day be able to produce. I feel like that would be my ultimate goal eventually, because my entire like career, that has always been my what I enjoy the most, which is piecing matches together, everything about it. Um and I feel like I probably will still encounter the same problems I've encountered before. But at least like I'll still be able to contribute, and I'll still be able to try to help
So,
and try to, you know.
so let me ask you this: as I'm listening to you speak, right? I feel like I'm talking to a person that whose spirit was broken by
Oh,
maybe,
yeah,
um,
long ago.
yeah. So again, you feel free not to talk about it, but journalistically, I have to say it.
Of course,
Would
yeah.
you would you think this all basically stemmed from the Bill DeMont issues that happened while you were training and you did what you went through, or was this even before that?
Um, that is like a kind of like a traumatic experience that I never really like was able to, because and it still literally still happens today. Like literally, look at all the stuff with P Diddy, stuff like women. Whenever they talk about anything, it's like it doesn't matter. No matter what, it doesn't matter. So that's like how I felt for the longest time. So at the point, like after I tried to talk about it, and at some point, like I just realized it's literally there's no point. Like I began to learn to just uh not just say nothing. Like just how do you say that?
Just deal with it.
Suppress, suppress, suppress,
Yeah.
suppress. So every time something comes up, like just suppress, suppress, suppress. Same thing with the last thing that happened, like in AEW. Like I tried to speak up, just same thing. It's a never ending thing. Like women just the way society responds to women is still so what would be the word? Just not on point. So that's why I just like why waste any energy, right? So I
So
just keep going. I just keep going. Pick
so
up,
you
keep going.
you're
Pick up,
hitting on a
keep
lot.
going.
You're hitting on a lot of subjects, right? So
But yeah, like
as a
my point is that's where it started. That was the
yeah,
beginning
no,
of
I
it
get
all.
it.
Sorry.
So, all right. So I want to go on. Well, you know what? Now you're going to send me back there. So this goes on with Demont, right? And for lack of a better term, and don't take this the wrong way, you blew a whistle on him, right? You saw something, an injustice or something you didn't like, and you called him out with the expectation
It
that the
cost me.
company,
It cost me my
yeah.
career.
So let me ask you this: did you ever feel at some point you wanted to reach out to Bill and say, what you did was wrong?
I had no idea. I mean, I wasn't even like I literally lost my career over it, so I didn't really saw a point to poke at it in any way, shape, or form anymore. After
Are those ties severed completely? Is there any chance you could possibly work with the W? After all, Demont's gone. Is there any
no
chance of that?
WWE, with WWE, no, that's a different story.
Okay.
Like time after, like sometime after that, I had that like little tryout thing. Actually, it was Jade was she was with me in the tryout, that little tryout I did. Um, I love her. uh, and in AEW too. I tried my best. Like I helped her out as much as I could in AW. But what was I saying? Well, what was I talking about? Sorry. I'm still recovering from a concussion.
No,
I lost my
Possibly,
thought.
possibly being able to
Oh,
return.
right,
Possibly
yeah. Yeah, I did the tryout. And like after that, there was a little bit of communication, and then like there's nothing that makes me believe that's a closed avenue. It's just I don't know how to go about it. And
so
I've been dealing with so much other stuff and stress, and just like I wanna be able to, if I do reach out to them, I wanna be like at my absolute best. And I've been having to work so much, like so ridiculously, inhumanely work so much for the past couple of years that I just haven't been able to catch up. Like to be able to be like, oh, the best shape of my life, and like this and that, and like, hey, would you like to?
Has it been worth it with all the physicality? I mean, I've been watching you for years. Has it been worth it monetarily for you to go through what you put your body through all these years as you look at it today?
No, not at all. Not for me. My specific journey.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
so I want to go on top of what Jimmy had just said, right? So you've been in this world of wrestling, and you work on the outside world too. Is it the
Yes.
world of wrestling that's this problem, or do you feel in general it's a problem? Obviously you mentioned Pete Diddy before, and we were just talking last week, all those people that went and testified against him, all running for cover now, right? Because it's like they're just letting this guy go free. And so is it the wrestling world? And to top it off what Jimmy said, is it worth it to even try to go back?
Like to try to go back where?
To become a wrestler? It just seems like there's so much noise within wrestling, things that go on, maybe exaggerated to a point that's not in the normal world.
Wrestling, I like. There's been some. Well, see, the thing is, I don't see. There's a lot of more opportunities for women, but that doesn't necessarily mean that things have improved. The actual underlying structure of the problem when it comes to how things are dealt with women is kind of still not that much more improvement. It's just,
Ivelisse,
a lot more opportunities.
can you
And it's like,
define the problem for the
it's
fans out there that don't understand?
like the way I've explained it in other occasions, it's like, for an example, like why on earth isn't there so much more female like trainers, producers, like women in charge of women's divisions? Like that is so far behind. Like, you see how like when it comes to guys, like they have their simple structure of hierarchy that is followed, and that's what works. But with females, it's still under the male thought
Architecture.
process. Yes, the male
I got
thought process, and like it's still not. It still doesn't zinc with how, like there's plenty of women who are veterans who can do a great job at leading the division, etc. Or there's plenty of a group of female veterans that could do a great job as a unit to lead a women's division, etc. The same way that structure works with men and how they do it, the female needs it. The female world needs it as well. But it's like, I don't understand if they don't see it or they don't care to see it. They just want to stay in control of how women operate or what, or like. I get it too. I get it in the money aspect that, a lot more men are the ones that are investors and this and that, and they want to keep them happy, so they got to keep it with it. But it's just like, it'll never truly evolve to its best potential without, I mean, it's female world, so it needs the female mind to be able to push it forward and lead it. Or even if it's in conjunction where both a female and a male together like lead it, but it's just lacking that female leadership in the structure, like. The
So
female veterans do not get the credit. It's still so far behind. Like when it comes to the female veterans.
So I want to challenge you on this, and this is a respectful challenge. So I agree with you, right? Women in wrestling should be empowered, but when I'll just use this particular wrestler, just grab her because me and Jimmy have fun with it. But I'm going to play a video, and this is the reason why I feel sometimes things aren't taken seriously.
Underwear segments in my Patreon. That is cooking in my underwear segment.
I mean, when someone goes on
That is
Instagram,
self-explanatory, but I really don't want to comment on this person.
no, I'm not talking about the person. It's more
But
the
yeah,
video.
like without paying attention to the person, like that. Yes, that is definitely a point.
Yeah, what is that? I don't want
Well, that's what I'm saying. When someone does that, it's like here you got people like yourself working super hard, a Charlotte Flair, a Becky Lynch, you know, a plethora of women that are incredible. But it all gets destroyed when we're cooking in our underwear. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I completely 1000% agree. Which is why I've never, even when I had my Patreon, I never made it about none of that sexy bullshit or whatever. Oh, sorry. None of that crap.
You're fine.
Even when I had my Patreon, I never made it about that. Like as brutal as my journey has been, I've held on to that and to my own detriment. And it's very, like, again, like I said, it's very brutal mentally because, like we touched on earlier, like you said, it has not been monetarily worth it in any way, shape, or form. So I do still to this day struggle on the daily when I have to work so damn hard after putting in 2 decades of my entire life, sacrificing 2 damn decades, like coming from nothing. And literally doing it all on my own. Like I've no family, no nothing, and still like here too. Like the way every single time like that I pick myself up, my bootstraps, and like keep going. Like every time it's like when like it's all me, you know, like it's brutal, but I feel like it's such an important element to being able to be taken seriously and be seen as a leader, etc., and all those things that, yes, it may not, like it's still detrimental because of society's failure to recognize the value in that, but at least, you know, I don't know, at least I stood on it, you know, like at least it's still part of my legacy, you know, I guess.
Great man once said, if you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing. So there is that.
Even if you stand alone.
Yeah. Sometimes that's part of it, unfortunately. You mentioned earlier representing culture, and I commend you for answering some of these questions because you know, once again, it's not always wrestling on Monte and the Pharaoh.
Yeah.
But let's
No,
give
I like that.
Ivelisse.
I like that. It's refreshing. It's like different
Thank
questions.
you. Appreciate that. Let's give Ivelisse power. And this does, you know, go into representing culture. This country currently, and it's disgusting, but it is what it is. Everybody's at each other's throats on the topic of immigration. You've always represented culture. Look, I followed you your whole career, whether you were in AAA, whether you were doing Lucha Underground. I get you, and you definitely should have been way more than what WWE. They should have done way more with you. And now let me get my Mark nerdy wrestling thing out of the way and ask you, if you had the power, what would you do to fix the immigration situation that we're currently all choking each other over? What would you do? Is there an answer to this?
See, the thing is, the problem is, like, I wish I would be able to, like, I don't like to give opinions on things that I don't fully understand or don't have the full, like,
I got it.
Like structure of how it works, etc., and things like that.
Sure.
But I do feel that obviously all that obviously all like humane ways are should always be the priority to do things, and like You know what I mean? Like that should always be the way to look at to try to solve problems, like the most humane way possible. Um, and yes, obviously legal according to whatever the system is or whatever. But I feel like the humane part is always the most important thing above, like in this planet, in this world, in this like for us to always try to find the most humane way to do things is like I feel the most important part because law changes all the damn times. Kind of like another reason why like the person who does my taxes has to tell me every single damn time, oh, things have changed this year. Things have changed. I'm like, are you kidding me? Every single time. Even he has a problem, problem keeping up with all these changes every single year. Some changes, law changes all the time. But it's like as long as trying to find the most humane solutions possible and in a way that is mutually respectful for everyone, like I feel that's the most important element towards dealing with any issue. That's my opinion.
Well, and you know what? It's a solid opinion. Let me ask you this: with the old guard being moved out in today's wrestling, right? It's obviously people like you and the younger wrestlers coming in, Hunter Hearst Helms, Polaresque taking over. Is there room for the old time wrestlers anymore? Or is their old style and the way they ran business over with, like a Vince McMahon, a Hulk Hogan?
In what sense exactly?
Okay, so it's clear that this generation's wrestling fan no longer loves let's just use Hulk Hogan, for example. He's booed on a regular basis now for his racial comments about 20 years ago. Or Vince McMahon, who has bought women. He hasn't committed a crime, right? Hasn't been arrested. I'm just saying that. But he, has been revealed that he's done some, crazy things that most normal people, or at least no one finds out about. Do you agree that these kind of wrestlers should be put out or even a Vince McMahon should be put out the pasture, meaning just forgotten because they've left now a bad mark on the sport that obviously you still love? I understand your anger and you're upset and you have a right to be that way, but do you think it's time for there's no more room for these type of guys in the business?
I think there is no more room. Not for these type of guys. If I mean it's just how can I look, I've been a victim myself of even though it's a completely like it's like comparing oranges to apples. Like the only thing I've ever been how can I say like punished for is for standing up for myself. This is what I've been demonized my entire career for standing up for myself. And being serious. That's actually even that is to my own detriment. The fact that I like take myself seriously and I'm serious, like, oh, she's a bitch, or like, oh, sorry, oh, she's a, this, that. I get even demonized for that, which is something I'm supposed to do if I want to be taken seriously, if I want to be a leader, if I want to, all these things. Like, so my point of what I'm trying to say is because it can happen. It can happen where a person gets demonized for things that are not true or that, or whatever. That does happen. It is possible. But if people have done really bad things or whatever, and if that's a stain they brought onto themselves and it's hurt their image to that degree where, it's just not feasible for them to show their face and this and that is kind of something they kind of did to themselves. So it's just kind of like, well, what exactly is the point to continue to try to shove it down people's throats if they don't want to see it type scenario?
Is the business getting any better though? After all, you've been in a lot of different levels of this business in your career. Would you say that it's getting any better, or is there still a lot of nefarious things going on that if people really knew, has anything really changed is what I'm asking you.
Unfortunately, yes, that's correct. Unfortunately,
Oof.
it's just I feel like though it's like it's not just wrestling. It's like everywhere. It's like it's all about us as a human race having that uh like if a person is not acting right, have like come together and like don't like just let because I see it all the time. I don't understand it. A person acts up, nobody does anything about it. Nobody like people in charge don't do anything about it. And I don't be like, oh, just sit down and talk and this and that, and allow themselves to be manipulated into staying longer and continuing to be a cancer and like this and that. Like it's like I feel when we see people that do good, like praise them and keep them around and keep like you know like keep those around. The ones that are bad, like keep them the hell out. Like I feel in my mind that applies anywhere, and it's such a simple thing, but I don't understand how so many struggle with that. And like I'm a person who like I don't my like throughout my life like I don't have that as a big struggle, like speaking up about things or if something's not right, hey, that's not right, like and this and that. But it's like I don't understand how it happens so often. And I feel like us, even if we're not like even like me, because I do this all the time too. Even if it's somebody else, like I'll stand up for other people too all the time, and that's to my detriment too, because I feel like like the more we speak up together, like the more numbers speak up about a certain issue together, then the more attention that gets, and it's higher chances of that being fixed. But if only one person is the only one that dares to say anything and like that's wrong, so that's not right, and like this and that, it's like nothing ever changes because nobody ever says anything. Just because it doesn't affect you directly, like it's still wrong, and somehow, some way, it will eventually affect you. Kind of like I'm not gonna say specific where. Like I'm gonna give an example. Like in a particular company, right? I saw somebody like talking down to one of the veterans in the locker room at the time. So I saw that, I see that, I see like she's, and I'm like, did you say anything? Did you? Oh no, just like that's not right. Like why would that be okay? Like I right away like spoke up about that. Like that's not right. Like why is it okay for this person to talk to you like that and treat you like that? That's not right. It's not right for anybody, but much less for you. You're a veteran in this locker room. They're not like if he does that to you, he's gonna do it to every other veteran. And like how is that empowering your veterans so that they can lead your locker room and like you know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. So I feel like the more people find that strength to be able to do that, then I feel like there will be a lot like higher chances of things improving in places anywhere. That's just how I feel.
Ivelisse, if I can dive a little bit deeper into that, when you did stand up for these folks, whether it was in a wrestling locker room or if you've ever done it
And
at
I
a
wasn't even
job,
that close to that person either. To me, it's not even about whether I'm close to them or not. It's just like that is wrong.
when you stand up for somebody, whether like I said in the wrestling ring or if you've ever done it in the past at work, I need to know for my own sanity because this is what I've experienced. When you stand up for somebody, do they reciprocate? Do they have your back afterwards when you take all the heat and you take all the firing and you have to move on to another place because you told the truth? Do they have your back after that most of the time? In my experience, it's been no. So I'm just curious, when you stand up and stick your neck out the way you have in the past, has anybody had your back for it?
No.
Thank you.
No. I
Okay,
mean,
so I'm not losing my mind. Okay,
no,
okay.
no. Of course, obviously, but this is the thing. I understand that this is probably the main reason why people don't do it. I
Money.
understand that. I understand like that is probably the main reason why people don't do it because they always fear
Yeah.
like they fear speaking up for themselves first and foremost because of the negative connotation that comes with it. But you know, so even less would they be able to do it for somebody else or whatever. But it's just like, you don't understand. We have to as a unit. Like, I even told like, yo, we need to speak up about this. The more numbers that say, yo, we see this is wrong, then the more they have no choice but to listen and do something about it. But if it's just me, always the one with to say something, then I'm the devil. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I end up always doing because, oh, nobody dares nothing because look what happens. And then it happens to me. Like, see, that's why we don't do it. And it's like, well, again, if we all did it collectively, I feel like in my mind collectively, if we collectively put that energy as a unit, like to shed light on certain things, it's so much more powerful than just one person saying it.
So doesn't that come full circle to the beginning of our program with you? And again, I can't reiterate enough. Thank you for your honesty. You know what I mean? It's refreshing. Doesn't it come full circle to the Kevin Nash thing where when he was a younger man, he was quiet, let things that were ridiculous go on within the industry. And now that he's an older statesman who has all this money and all he can do is garner up the attention to tweet instead of standing up for younger people like yourselves, right? This is the point. And again, I'm not asking you to attack him, but I think that's the point I was trying to make at the beginning of this, right? When you have the opportunity to make a difference, like, look, you put a lot on the line here. You possibly lost a superstar career for standing up for yourself. Listen, I don't know the problems you had with Thunder Rosa. I'm not going to ask you about it, but from just getting to know you here, I'm assuming she did something very wrong. Very wrong to you. And I think the statement has to be made that if wrestling and it's going to change, people need to stand up for each other, especially the women have to stand up for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Mike,
that's what I kept trying to say, to get them to understand.
Yeah, to add
It has
to
to
that,
be as a collective, as a unit. It's more powerful when it's numbers.
to add to that, to hammer home her point about what goes on behind the scenes with the production and who's working with the women. I think it's very fair to say a few less Devon Dudleys, and I'm just throwing a name out there, whether it was Laurinaitis, whether it was whoever was in charge of the whole group and overseeing the women as well. When one day that book is handed to a Becky Lynch, when one day that book is handed to a Trish Stratus or someone like that, where they can work with the women directly, then yeah, we'll get to where you want to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's. I wanted to get that in, and Mike, also real quick too. Look, you know how much I love Kevin Nash as far as the NWO and stuff like that, and we respect that podcast. We've had Sean on, in the past and stuff like that. But listen, to the regular, everyday, blue-collar working guy like me, sure, we have a great show and stuff like that, but I'm still just a dude, okay? I'm a regular guy, all right? When he says happy 1% rich white day, coming from this blue-collar guy, hey, Kev, you're part of that group because don't tell me you're not wealthy, bro. What are you doing? It's the 4th of July. My partner served this country, okay? You don't do that on the 4th of July. You really shouldn't do it at all coming from your point of view. You're very wealthy, and we all loved you for it, and we made you wealthy. So take it easy on us when our soldiers want to have one day a year. Oh, they get 2. That's right. They get Veterans Day.
Appreciate
Mike,
that, Jimmy.
I regress. I just wanted to say that, Ivelisse, thanks for tolerating me, okay?
Ivelisse, let me ask you
No,
this.
it's okay. You can let it out.
If you could do this all over again, would you still want to become a wrestler?
Oof.
Man, what a time of my life for you to ask me that question.
Yeah, why not?
I guess I would say I can't really answer because it's not over. Like, I feel like, even like, to me it's an evolution. Like, the day I decided to step my foot forward in this pro wrestling journey, like, my goal was exactly the same it is still now, and 20 about to be 22 years later. So it's like, I feel like since that's been like, just like what I feel is my purpose and is my goal. And like, I'm, you know, it's already all I am and all I've ever known. So like my journey is not over yet. So it, like, even when I stop performing, like stop wrestling per se in the performance aspect, I still have so much more to go in terms of like figuring out ways that I can like contribute and help when it comes to women's wrestling. Um, and yes, there's been times that the things that I've gone through, yes, from men, but yes, from even from women too, that I've helped, because it's happened. Like women that I've helped literally goes right back and they screw me over bad and like and stuff like that. But even with that, like my goal is my goal. Even with the things that happen and the things that you know, things I just mentioned, like my goal was the same before that happened, and my goal is still the same after. So it's like that doesn't change like who I am, what I stand for, and what my goal is, you know? So
How do you maintain that drive after
I
all the things over the years, the injuries, the ridiculous bookings, the backstage politics? I mean, what keeps you focused? Do you love wrestling as much as you did in the beginning? How do you keep going?
see, that's the thing. I love the art form of pro wrestling. Like that's been my, because it's my passion. Yes, like that. It's just my innate passion for it and the art form of it that has kept me in this thus far and would still keep me in further. However, far more I would even after not performing, you know, like in the performance sense. Um, I just have that passion for it. Like as soon as I start talking wrestling in terms of like, all right, putting a match together or putting this together or making a moment or this and that, like my brain lights up and it's my brain lights up, comes alive, and it's just like I don't know, it's almost tunnel vision, complete tunnel vision. And again, at this point, after 22 years, like that's just what my brain is decoded for, you know?
It's actually called passion, man, and there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
it. Another tough question for you. Does Tony Khan belong in pro wrestling? What was it like working for that organization?
Oh boy.
Be careful. I don't want to get you in trouble. I'm just asking
No,
the
because
question.
see, this is the thing though, because I've never said anything bad about Tony Khan. Like I had a great experience with him. Like when I first came to AEW, I had a great experience there, and I had a great experience with him too. I was like, oh my god, like I literally, like I cried on the phone because I was so happy. I was like, oh my god, like I didn't think this would happen again, you know, or again because like Lucha Underground, like I felt happy there, like actually cared for and whatever. And then like I was like, wow, like especially because when I first came to AW, I literally like my house burned down, so it was like a really crappy moment at that time too. So like the way they were like helping, etc., and like the way everything was going, I literally like cried of happiness and it was like thank you, like you know. So literally everything was going great. I was so happy. And then not just that, but then also everything in the locker room, like the female locker room, everything was going great. We were all like getting along very well and everything. And then it's just a certain thing, a certain element came into the equation and just like everything went to crap.
Were they cooking in their
Look,
underwear?
you know what? I got to pull the elephant out
Good.
of the room because we're kind of dancing around it, and we're talking about Thunder Rosa, right?
Well, I've said it 1,000 times. So
Right. Can I just ask you what?
But like
what was?
my point is I was having such a great experience, and it's just such a shame. That was such a shame for me because I was having such a great experience. I was so happy, and I was like, man, this guy, you know, like Tony, like man, he's such a great guy. Like he's such a nice person. Like but I never got to like sit down, talk to him and stuff like that. And I never got to do that. But regardless, like whatever thus far, like throughout that time frame and the interactions I did have, etc., like to me were great. I'm like, man, this is a really nice guy. And then like the way I would observe everything else, I'm like, damn, I feel like certain people are kind of taking advantage of his niceness. That sucks bad.
You try to get in
But
touch with him? Did you try to contact him when all of this garbage is going on?
well, I tried a bunch of stuff. I did try to talk to him when everything was like going to crap and whatever. But when you have an entourage of people around you saying all types of stuff, like you are gonna believe what your entourage, like you literally picked out your entourage. You're gonna listen to your entourage, like that.
I'm
That. I feel like that sucks. That shouldn't be that way, but I do wholeheartedly believe from my interactions, from my observations, that he truly is a nice, like a good person. Um, I don't know how much that has been influenced throughout, that from that time to now. I don't know, but at least I can only speak of the time frame that I was there. And I just felt like just so disappointed in that sense, and I was like, man, such a damn shame, because it could have been so much, like it could have been great, even but it got derailed.
all right.
Not
So
that,
putting your personal feelings aside on Thunder Rosa, how was it wrestling her? Was she a good wrestler?
I don't want to I don't want to continue speaking
Oh, I
about.
was just talking as far as wrestling goes, not on a
Yeah,
personal
so
basis.
no, because no, that's like opening a
To
really
be fair,
traumatic.
to be fair, Ivelisse, I
Sorry,
don't know the issue here. I have no idea what the issue here is. I'm just asking, right? So I
sorry.
don't. No problem.
yeah, and also, Mike, if I could go full circle back to Nash,
I'm trying not to open the floodgates.
I
No,
got you.
again, I know Britt Baker had a problem with her. Obviously, you have a problem with her. My question was, is she also not a good wrestler? Because we're just talking about
Oh no,
wrestling.
I
I
mean,
don't.
hey, I could tell you that neutrally. Like, obviously, she's athletic. Like, and I mean, that doesn't, because a person's athletic, that doesn't mean they get pro wrestling or whatever. Or like, but I mean, obviously, she's athletic. I could say that. There's no denying that.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Mike. To me, it sounds like and you don't have to comment on this, Ivelisse. This is once again just me with my gut read. Not to come full circle back to Nash, but it sounds to me like she ran into a clique. That's what it sounds to me like. But
So what?
a clique like Kevin Nash's little group that used to sink careers and block people. But that's all been documented. That's not gossip. So I find it interesting, and that's a possibility. But we'll leave that be, and respectfully to Ivelisse. That's all.
Absolutely. Ivelisse, did you ever work with Conan?
Yes.
Tell us about
In
Conan.
Lucha Underground and Triple A.
So tell us about Conan the Man.
Conan. I'm grateful like for the opportunities that I had. Because he did put a word in for me at those times. The only thing that I was just kind of like confused about was when I had well, not when I had, when a particular person he was close to, or was or is still, I don't know, had issues with me and I was ready to defend myself. And I mean, I feel like he tried to stay kind of neutral or whatever with it too, but that's just been the only time that I was just a little confused as to if he had issues with me or not or whatever. But outside from that, I'm really grateful for all those times before that I had a chance to work with him.
WWE recently purchased AAA. Any chance of you possibly getting involved with that aspect of it? Because after all, you have a lineage there. So
I'm open to it. I think I don't see why not, especially with my involvement. Yes, like my history with AAA, but also my involvement with Lucha Underground. So I don't see why not. But I'd be open to it, of course.
what are your plans for the future as far as wrestling goes? What is your like five? Do you have like a 5-year window? What you'd like to accomplish in the next 5 years? Let's say.
Right now, because have been recovering from an injury, like it's been very blurry for me. But if everything continues to go well, um, I would like to stay as healthy as I possibly can, get in the best shape as possible, and hopefully, let's do that again. Explore knocking on going back to WWE, a major company. Well, obviously, I would like for it to be WWE. I would like to do my last like real run of pro wrestling in WWE. So hopefully, that can be what I do last in the last 5 years.
I love it. Here's the toughest question and the last question. Are you ready? In the world of wrestling,
I don't know. Am I ready?
I don't know this, but I think
think
this
so.
one's going to be very tough. In the world of wrestling, we call this microcosm, right? You guys like this mini family, like you've discussed numerous times throughout this interview. Has Ivelisse been able to avoid having a love affair or meeting some wrestler and getting involved with, or have you had a relationship and you've been able to stay? And if you did, how was the relationship?
No, I'm not gonna discuss that.
You're killing me, man. You are killing me.
I'm
You don't have to give.
comment.
You don't have to give a name. All you have to say is yes. I got involved with someone and I had a great time. That's all.
I'm gonna say no comment.
Once upon a time, there was a guy. He was shy. I said bye. Next. There you go.
All right, we're gonna hit you. We're gonna hit you with something called the Pharaoh's final question. I want to thank you for joining us. You've been fantastic. Thank you for answering everything that you did. And,
no problem.
And personally, and again, I'm not saying I don't like Thunder Rosa, so I'm on whoever's side is against Thunder Rosa. So, all right, I'm on team whoever doesn't like Thunder Rosa. Okay, and to be honest with you, when you look like that, don't cook in your underwear. That is a whole nother issue. Jimmy, go ahead.
Oh, holy omelets, Batman. Oh, my God. Well, I'll tell you one thing that's for sure, because Mike asked me about having you on the show, and I was very excited because I've always been a big fan of yours, and you are a great in-ring wrestler. So, give me your definition of a real wrestler. A wrestler's wrestler.
Like I just said, one that when they have to start wrestling, their brain lights up and they just go. Like it's just second nature to them. Like the passion just allows them to operate on a whole nother level, and their passion is what moves them in the ring, and no one can touch that.
I'm gonna add one more. I'm gonna add one more layer to that. What's more important, in-ring wrestling technical ability or the ability to tell a story in the ring, even if you're not the greatest technical wrestler? What's more important, telling the story or being a great in-ring technical wrestler alone?
See me? Oh, you're asking me when I love to try to get that perfection of blend of both. But the truth is that it's the story. No matter what, it's the story. Like,
Yep.
Like I love for the ultimate goal to be the perfect blend of both, but at the end of the day, it's all about the story.
There it is, Mike. That's why the bloodline went on for 4 years.
And that's actually always my obsession too. Like I love to have the both, but ultimately the underlying obsession is the story.
Yep, agreed.
And with that, I agree. Thank you again, Ivelisse. What an honor. Thank you for joining Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast. Everybody join us at 9 o'clock where we have the bodyguard, or the former bodyguard for the Von Erichs, Bill Culver. Jimmy, send us out.
You've been watching Monte and the Pharaoh with the magnificent Ivelisse. And until shortly, there's no clock in here. Later.